Hello, everyone. This is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience, over here at the Kimalan Village, where each one reach one and each one teach one, along with Brother Piaki, my main man, my main brother from another mother. And as I say, where each one reach one and each one teach one brick, one building, one block at a time. And as we often say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. We show that by the things that we do. And just like I say, sharing is caring, and I often like to share information. I tell people one of the reasons I mostly do this is because of my dear friend London. For some reason, she thinks that I might have something to say, and I guess we all have something to say. But I'm more or less, I really like to just sit back and listen to people because you get more out of listening than you do when you're talking. Because if you're doing a lot of talking, you're not listening, so you can't learn a whole lot. And not that I'm trying to be the smartest person in the world, but I know I need to be listening to a whole lot of things and people myself. But today, as well, piggybacking always about each one reach one and each one teach one. I was thinking on yesterday and for the last couple of weeks, I'm also an observer and I pay close attention to my surroundings. And here, you hear me often talk about the families and the children, how they pay attention and how they watch us. Well, not only that, but even here at the village and with us trying to work with them, trying to teach them, trying to help them become better persons, as well as when they get out of school, not only just teach them, to help them with their homework and give them a little snack and a little playtime and try to teach them other avenues and other skill sets. I also observe here at the village, especially here in the store, what I find myself doing and myself doing quite often here lately is that when the kids come over, you know, sometimes the environment of sitting down at a table and trying to teach them math or trying to teach them how to read, sometimes it kind of gets away from them because it's kind of like work. So what I try to do is merge a little work, a little play, a little pleasure into uh, what I'm doing. I tell people there's a method to my madness. And what I try to do is use the tools that I have. So now, what I do when children come over, especially if they show little signs of not reading or not reading as well, I make them. I don't have them to read a book or read a sentence, but sometimes the kids would come to the store and they would point at something and say, "Give me one of those," or "Give me one of those," or two of those. I said, "What is that?" And they look at me, "One of those." I said, "No, what is one of those?" I said, "It has a name." And then they'll, call out the name if it's a candy bar. Let's say, example, if it's a Hershey, then there's a Hershey. And then sometimes when you find out in some occasions, some of the ones you would think that know better, some of them may not know that that's a Hershey, may not know that word, don't know how to spell it. Or not only just a Hershey, maybe uh, a fish, a cherry, a Twix candy bar. So what I do from that is I talk to them when I get a chance to after I wait on different ones. I make them as well count. They'll put their money on the table and ask for a candy bar. They may say, "Give me a Twix," and give me a $5 bill. And they walk away and slightly looking at you like, I think I'm supposed to get some change. And I said, "Come here." I said, what is this?" I said, "A five." I said, "So how much is the candy bar?" $1. I said, "So why are you leaving? You don't want your change?" "Yeah." I said, "Well, stay here." I said, "Don't ever walk away from your change." I said, "Because that belongs to you. That's your money. And you know that you should have at least $4 coming back. So you don't leave until you get your change. Because sometimes when, unfortunately, you could be in other places, you walk away, the people won't give you your change. They'll take it from you." So we have to teach them because they find themselves look like a little timid about different things. So we don't want them to be scared to spend their own money. We want them to be able to pay attention and know how to add for themselves. So when they get change back, if they're here or somewhere else, that they get their correct change. And then as well as leading, if you're gonna lead, you have to be a good example. Like I say, I ask them and I make them count out. Sometimes I deliberately not give them enough change back. And sometimes they catch me, some of them just accept it. But I do that for a reason because I'm trying to teach them you don't have to be scared. This is your money. You earned it. Your parents gave it to you. And don't let nobody take it from you. If they try to take it from you, let them know that you are aware of what's going on. You know how to add. You know how to count your money. You know how to read. Not only just give me one of those, but give me a bag of Cheez-Its or Cheetos or Doritos. Ask for what you want. And and being a leader here, because we believe in also building positive leaders. So in saying that, what I'm trying to say is that I had an experience. I have it quite often with some of these kids here because they're so smart. But I had a young man to come to me yesterday, and he come in and he wasn't supposed to be here because we have a time when they come in. The first thing we do is feed them because they've been at school all day and haven't had anything since lunchtime. And so we want to, rather than thinking and focusing on their stomach, we need them to get them back together so they can think about what they're doing. So we feed them, and then we try to go over some of their homework and different things with them. Then after that, we may have drum classes, martial arts, free time, or whatever. But we also have a designated time that at the end of the day, after everything is over with, that all the kids can come over and get them a snack if they like. So every now and then they would try to sneak over a little bit earlier. And I would tell them, no, you can't get anything until that time. And so after a few times, I had to explain to them, and which gave me another opportunity to teach them how to abide and go follow leadership, follow directions. And when people is telling them something and how to go by doing it, and the young man, he's said, well, I want to help you out. I said, what you mean you want to help me out? He said, well, I'm going to buy a couple of dollars worth of candy. I said, well, it's not time. He said, I know. He said, but it's, ain't nobody here. Don't nobody know. I said, well, you know, and I know. I say, and I'm a businessman, and if you know, most businessmen, like that money. I said, I like that money because and they say money is the root of all evil, but it's not so much as the money, is what you choose to do with that money. And I often tell people it's not the money that you have, it's what you do with it. The decisions that you make, how to spend that money, how to use that money. Do you use it in a manipulative way, or do you use it in a positive way? And young man was still, he said, well, don't nobody have to know. I said, well, you know, and I know. And he said, well, I'm not going to tell nobody. I said, well, you don't have to. I said, let me explain something to you. I said, you think I'm just a candy man? He said, yeah. I said, okay, well, that's part of it. I said, but not only that, I say, I'm trying to teach you how to follow directions and instructions. I say, and I can't teach you that if I'm not following directions and instructions myself. I say, I'm also the overseer. So I'll oversee operations. I make sure people do what they are supposed to be doing themselves. So how can I focus on and tell Elder Piaki here that he need to do this and he need to do that? And then when he looks up and he finds me doing everything that I'm telling him not to do, I'm doing. And then every now and then you get somebody that will tell you something like, don't do what I do, do what I say. So you want to do wrong, but you want me to do right, or you tell me how to do right. So we got to focus on that. We can't have those kind of instructions and then because the kids, like I say, they are paying attention. I told them, I said, we all have sat down and had a meeting and figured out what would be a good time for you all to come over here. So if I'm gonna make sure that the instructors is doing their job and make sure and they're gonna make sure that you guys are doing your job, I also have to make sure that I'm doing mine. So as well as y'all have to follow instructions and direction, I said, so do I. I said, so I can't sell you something and then turn around and tell you you need to listen and obey and do what your instructor said because I just went against the grain myself. So hopefully on that note, somebody got a little something to say, like my brother Piaki here, because he's the man.
Well, listen, what you listening to is a businessman with a conscience. And when we work around these children up here at the village, it's like each one reach one, each one teach one. And we always find there's around these children that we deal with every day, there's teachable moments, always an opportunity to try and give some direction, positive,
some guidance.
Yeah, guidance that's going to affect them the rest of their life. Because I think our last broadcast that we did together, I said the children are watching us. And that's no doubt that when you work around them, they watch and see. There's a little girl up here that got my heartstrings. Every time she come in, she knows she can get away with murder with me. But I get pulled in. My brother pulled me in and said, now, you're not supposed to be doing that. I say, I understand. But it filters down into the rest of the children. If you do it with one and don't let the others do it, they're going to notice that you're not serious about what you say you are. So what we do is try and stay in a positive space first within your mind, and you create an atmosphere around these children where they pick up on that and they carry on and they'll learn from it and they'll remember it. Because I can go back on times when I was a youth, listening to the elders, listening to old guys, even listening to old wino. When my friends, we'd be out, he said, man, that guy don't know what he talking about. I said, man, you don't know what he's saying. And I sat down and took the time to listen to him. And years later, I remember something happened. I said, that guy said exactly what he knew what he was talking about. So when we get around children, especially your own, don't tell them do what I say and then you go do something contradictory to what you're trying to tell them. And if they don't see you reading, they don't feel like it's necessary to read. They see you smoking, they feel, well, that must be good for me. And they may try to sneak off and do it. I remember I used to sneak them old, I didn't smoke or drink when I was a teenager. I didn't like the drinking part. I didn't like so much the smoking that till they started teaching. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. Well, you don't want to be left out, so you'll try just to get along with your group, your peer group. So you wind up picking up bad habits around your peer group. It depends on who your friends are. And then sometimes your parents will tell you, I don't want you going around nowhere with that old bad guy because he's going to get you in trouble. And I used to tell them when they would take people's cars back then, because back in the 60s, you would jump in a car, you didn't need a key. You could push a button or turn a switch and it would turn on. The guys would take them cars and go joyride. Well, I used to tell the guys I was with, hey man, don't steal nobody's Cadillac. Don't you do that. I said, some people will hurt you over that. One guy took the car, drove up to school. Why they do that? They came up to school and they want to showboat in front of the girls, and they got to arguing about who's going to drive off. As soon as they jumped under the wheel to drive off, here come police around the corner. Got them jacked up out there, everybody looking at them. I said, yeah, well, you didn't learn, you know now. And another time we had got a car, we used to get, Friday night after school, we were going to go partying, and we had some wheels to take us across town. Some other guys had found our car and beat us for it. They ran down Mack Avenue waving at us, blowing the horn. And as soon as they got past us, here come the police, pulled them over. And we standing there looking at them, and they pointing at us. It was them. It was, yeah, okay. But they got you. But being in a positive space, you don't put yourself in them negative places. You don't put yourself in jeopardy. And luckily, sometimes you get away with stuff, but don't take too many chances thinking that it's going to always work out that way for you. When you're young and you think you're superhuman, you can run fast, you think fast, you know more than the next guy. Believe me, there's always something around the corner that you're not ready to deal with. So listen to your elders, pay attention to yourself, and watch what you take in, because education is not all of what you learn. Sometimes it's what you get rid of. So being positive is one thing you want to always be up around children, because they pick up on all the negativity if that's all you're going to show. And I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to one old guy like me and my brother.
Thank you, Elder Piaki. I was thinking about the young lady that you were referring to.
Mona
what's her name? Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa is what, 5 years old?
Yeah.
And she's a very smart young lady. And we have to, like I say, you have to be careful because they are very manipulative. To be so young, and she would come in and I'd try to rush him and scare him back out. And like he said, she done stole his heart. She just lay on him and he give her anything she want, you know. And I tell her, I said, get out of here. And then she just look at me and I said, get out. You go to your class. You know where you're supposed to be. And then he said, leave her alone. I said, no, she got to get over there with the rest of them. And then after a few times, when she would try to ease back in, I see her sneaking in. I said, get out of here. And she looked at me and smiled and run back to the class. So one day she come in and had got to him and he had treated her again and she went on. She come back a little bit later on and I thought she was headed to him, but she would come straight to me. And I'm like, now she know that I'm finna get with her. And she just smiled and said, this is for you. And had a little bouquet of plastic flowers. And said, this is for you. I said, well, thank you. I said, but you still got to go back to your class. And I thought about that. I said, now, I guess she said, now, I got him. I got to do something to get to this one here because he the one that messes with me, make me go to my class. So think about that, 5 years old, and she done figured out some kind of way what was going on in her mind that she needed to bring me a flower. So I just want to, now I'm saying this to say that that's why we have to be careful because these children are thinking. In order for us to make good leaders, they have to also see that we are good followers. And like they say, consistently. You can't tell, like I say, tell people do this, and do that. And when somebody tell you to do something, you don't do it. My father always told me, say, a good leader was a great follower.
True that.
He was able to follow his leader, did whatever the leader told him to do because that's how they learn things. The leader would say, do this, do that, that. And sometimes you the leader, I come telling me, but they don't learn how to do that. Now they're trying to teach you how to do something. So if you learn how to follow real good like that, you will become a great leader. And you will become what they say, there are some books out, becoming Michelle Obama, becoming Coleman Powell, becoming President Obama. You can become yourself. You can be the greatest yourself that there is. So I just want you to remember and think about what I say, and hopefully that we say is something that will interest you, that will give you a little more food for thought to make you think about it before you do it. And thank you for listening to John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience, and his brother, Elder Piaki, over here at the Accumuline Village, where each one reach one, each one teach one brick, one building, one block at a time. And as we often say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you can. We show it by the things that we do. We don't care about what you think about what we do. We show you that we care in spite of how you feel about what we do. We still showing you that we care. Thank you and have a great day.
Stay safe out there. Mhm. You stopping it?